Hello students, I welcome you all to today's current affairs lecture by AZAD ICS Academy. In today's lecture, we are going to study about 4th December 2024 current affairs. So today also I've selected very few interesting topics. We'll go through those topics in detail. The first topic is about agriculture. This is not from the Hindu, it is from the PIB. When I was reading PIB, I thought this is one of the important topics that we all need to understand. That there is a lot of initiatives that government is trying to do. And as we all know, for agriculture, and we all know that agriculture is very important because our country is an agrarian economy. So we need to know a little bit of initiatives or schemes that are there important for agriculture. So developing a sustainable and robust agricultural industry. So we need to understand, or you can see the picture, how the government is trying to, come up with some robust agricultural industry and sustainable development. So what are these things and what are the important schemes that are going to play a very important role is what we have to understand from this. So the Indian government has been actively promoting sustainable and robust agricultural industry through variety initiatives. Why are we trying to do this? So that there is innovation, there is infrastructural improvement and sustainable practices. See, from agriculture, when it is agriculture from sowing the seed, okay, or clearing the land to sowing the seed and harvesting, after that you also have storage, you have transportation and you have marketing and you have to, sell it. So there's a long process, right? So in the picture, it is very clearly depicting that, person is sowing also, is transporting also. You can see there are godawns and there are industries as well. See, for example, if you have a ketchup company or a tomato sauce making company, you need tomatoes and the raw material is your agriculture. Similarly, for sugar, you need sugarcane. That is also agricultural based industries. For all the agricultural based industry, agricultural outcome is the raw material. And for this, what you need to understand here is, or for proper, better uh, produce of raw materials, what we need to do here is we have to have innovative and proper infrastructure and sustainable practices. So to practice this, what government is basically doing, we are going to understand that. Okay. There are some of the initiatives that I'll be discussing here. Okay. There are around 2, 3 initiatives that government is doing. And this is in news also. It is mentioned in the PIB, so it becomes important. The first important thing that we have to see is innovation and agri entrepreneurship development program. So here you need to understand is entrepreneurship is somebody who want to make their own enterprise. What are the things or what are the benefits or support that they are going to get from the government? The first thing is overview. Let us understand what is this exactly. This program is implemented under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana. I will not go into this Yojana in detail. Please try to read it once whenever you get time. But let us understand that the innovation and agri entrepreneurship development program is under Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana, which was there since 2018-19 financial year. What is the main aim? It is main aim is to promote innovation, entrepreneurship. See, entrepreneurs here also automatically entrepreneurs will have innovative ideas. So innovation and entrepreneurship in agriculture and allied sectors means not just agriculture, but also whatever sectors that are there along with agriculture. As I already mentioned you about, it could be any industries that are there or any handicrafts or anything that is related to agriculture, like it could be dairy products or something like that. So it will be providing both financial and technical supports to the startup. Now, if I want to start something, what do I need? I need some kind of support. So what is the support that I'll be getting? We will see that. First thing that we need to understand is we are going to get some knowledge partners. So what are these knowledge partners? See, knowledge partners refer to organization or like research institution or NGOs, anybody who can give us some knowledge about agriculture, technology, and which is the best practice. So these people are knowledgeable people which will or who will, or it could be an organization, it could be a university or NGO or any private entity. They can collaborate with farmers and give information regarding what is the best agricultural practice. So all these knowledge partners, and we also have agri-business incubators. Now, what are these agri-business incubators? It is defined as a process that focuses on nurturing the innovation in early stage entrepreneurs that have high potential of growth and becoming a competitive business by serving, adding value, or linking them to farm produce. If I want to, do some business, I need some space. I need some kind of, what you mean to say, early stage support, and that support will be done by these incubators, where we can do, or this is basically done for those people where there is a potential of growth and becoming a competitive agribusiness. How are we doing it? By adding some value to it or by linking it to farm produce. So something like this is done so that these incubators, so you can see there are 5 knowledge partners and 24 agribusiness incubators. These entities are responsible for training and supporting startup. If I want to have a startup, if I want to have a proper startup, so what am I going to do in this startup is that I will have 5 knowledge partners and 24 agribusiness incubators. And these incubators are going to help me support my initial stage of business. So this will provide a crucial, this is going to provide crucial service that will help the ventures develop and have a proper scale. So this is something that is very important. Apart from this, if I want to start a business, what is very, very important is a financial support. So any startup that is related to agriculture or having agriculture based or allied sector based startup, what are we going to get? We are going to get some kind of financial assistance with up to 5 lakh rupees available at the idea or pre-stage. Means I have not started anything. I just have an idea. If I go take that idea, then what I will do is I will get 5 lakhs up to 25 lakhs at the seeded level. So for example, if I have gone to a next level, that is I have some kind of, started work. In that case, when I've got to a higher level, not just idea, but I have come up to the next levels. Maybe I have got some research done. I'm able to show that I'll be able to get the profit from this particular business. In that case, I'll also get up to 25 lakhs at the seed stage. This financial injection is crucial for the startups to innovate and bring their ideas to fruition. That is nothing but if I am getting this kind of financial support, it is 5 lakhs or 25 lakhs, I can make this 5 lakhs to a higher profitable business or this 25 lakhs to higher profitable business. That is a major important thing that we need to understand from here. Then we have goals. What is the important goal from this particular program? The program aims to modernize post-harvest management, expand cold chain infrastructure, reduce agricultural losses, and improve market access to farm. So you can see here after harvest or post harvest, after the harvest, what management can be done. See, we have seen that there's a lot of food that gets wasted, maybe because there is no storage facility. So after the harvest, how can we manage that particular raw materials that we have? How can we have this infrastructure being scrutinized? How can we reduce the agricultural losses that is happening? So all this is the aim of this particular innovative and innovation and agricultural entrepreneurship development program. Right now, they may ask you one marker here like Rashtriya Krishi Vikas Yojana under this or under which particular program or yojana this program is. So such kind of one markers can come. Right now, next important thing that we have to understand is agricultural marketing infrastructure scheme. So this is another important scheme that is mentioned in your PIB, and here we need to understand it is a component of integrated scheme for agricultural marketing. Now, what is integrated scheme for agricultural marketing? It is a scheme that provides or aims to provide agricultural marketing infrastructure and improve storage capacity for agricultural produce. So it is basically trying to do what? It is trying to provide us infrastructure, marketing infrastructure especially, and improve storage capacity. This scheme is implemented by, again, a one marker question here, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. So under which ministry it is coming and what it is aiming to, and all these are certain things that we need to understand. Even in answer writing, you can mention all these things that will make your answer much better. What are the objectives of this particular integrated scheme for agricultural marketing? To create marketing infrastructure, that is to provide back-end subsidy support to investment from the state or private sector and cooperatives. Also, we need to understand, see, it is related to what? Integrated scheme means we are trying to make sure that we're giving infrastructure also, we're trying to improve their storage also, right? So all these things we're trying to do. That is two important things that we need to understand is infrastructure, storage, facility, especially that is, construction or renovation of warehouse or godowns in the rural areas. Now, under this, we have agricultural marketing infrastructure scheme, and it is focusing on improving the infrastructure required for efficient agricultural marketing. So what is it going to provide, or what are the key features? Assistance for infrastructure. The scheme provides financial assistance for constructing or renovating storage facilities like godowns, warehouse in rural areas. So under this, I can get some kind of assistance of infrastructure. What is its objective? By enhancing storage capacity, the scheme aims to reduce post-harvest losses. which are significant issues in India. So, especially in agricultural sector, improved storage facility ensures that the agricultural produce can be stored safely, reduce spoilage and wastage. So basically the previous one and this one. So the previous one also you can see what exactly is the reason or why are we trying to have some innovative and better, what you mean to say, business. How are we trying to do is we are trying to make sure that the infrastructure is better and also reduce the wastage that is happening. And we are also trying to, do the agriculture, reduce the agricultural losses. So basically, most of the schemes, especially the scheme that we discussed before and the scheme that we are discussing now, is focusing on infrastructure and reduction of the losses. And both of them can be done by how? How can we do it? We can do it by renovating or by constructing godowns and warehouses in the rural areas, right? The next important scheme that we have is Agricultural Infrastructure Fund. So again, you need to understand the major important thing that PIB is trying to highlight is that is, we need to have a proper infrastructure development for agriculture. What is that infrastructure that is needed is the godowns, the warehouses. Especially when this is proper, what happens here is the farmers will be able to store their agricultural produce very properly and will be able to, transport them properly. All of this is done, then the reduction will be there in agricultural losses. So that is the major focus that it is trying to tell us here. Now, here under this, the Agricultural Infrastructure Fund aims to create a long-term investment fund to support infrastructure projects in agriculture with a target of 1 lakh crore by fiscal year 2025-26. Right? Now, what is it trying to do? Project can receive loans up to 2 crores with the capped interest of rate of 9% and annual rate of subvention of 3% and credit guarantee free reimbursement up to 7 years. So it is trying to, if I want to have a project wherein I want to, build some kind of infrastructure, I will be able to receive loans up to 2 crores with a rate of interest of 9%, with annual rate of subvention interest of 3% and credit guarantee free investment also, right? So this is something that I'll be able to get if I am doing some kind of infrastructural fund. Apart from this, we have convergence with other schemes. So this scheme is also having some kind of merger with other schemes. So that is nothing but Agricultural Infrastructure Fund scheme is converging with initiatives like PM formalization of micro food processing enterprise scheme, which support food processing, and also PM Kusum scheme, which increases the integration of renewable energy in the agriculture. So see, what they're trying to do here is they're not trying to just do one scheme. We are merging a lot of schemes here so that we have better outcomes and better, what you mean to say, reduction in the loss of wastage, etc. And what is this subvention here? There is interest on subvention. Subvention interest is the amount given as a grant or aid by the government. So we are also going to get extra 3%, annual rate of interest. That is, we are going to get some kind of grant or aid by the government so that they help the institution or they help that particular, what you mean to say, project. Okay. So this is about Agricultural Infrastructure Fund. Next thing that we are going to understand is impact of these initiatives. So we have seen around 3 initiatives and all the 3 initiatives are basically focusing on the infrastructure. This is something that you need to understand. So what is the impact of these initiatives? Empowerment of agri-tech startups. So any startup that is based on agriculture, those will come ahead. So these programs are empowering agri-tech startup by providing necessary finance, technical support, fostering innovation, and also we can have precise or precision farming, value addition, and use of digital tools. So we can have some kind of digital tools involved in the agriculture. And how can we do this? If I want to do precision farming, I would require a lot of financial support. So I can get that because of this particular initiative. Rural industrialization and employment. See, if I am able to do some kind of industries in a rural area, the people of that particular area will also get some kind of employment and we will try to build an industry in a rural area. So by supporting infrastructure and marketing, these initiatives promote rural industrialization, creating employment opportunity and boosting local economy as well. Enhancing market access also, that is agricultural goods will expand markets and increase income for the farmers. So we will be able to create some market access for them. We will come up with more road infrastructure, transportation, so the market will also expand for those people or the local people. Promotion of sustainability, the use of green practices and eco-friendly technologies aligning with global sustainable goals. These initiatives encourage adopting sustainable agricultural practice that minimize environmental impact. So if I'm doing precision farming, or if I am having any kind of infrastructure that has been built to store my agricultural raw material in a proper manner, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to reduce the wastage. Okay, and I'm also trying to use different types of modern methods of farming which will be sustainable agricultural practices, okay, so that I can reduce the impact on environment also. Collaboration and resilience. The initiative will enhance collaboration between the enterprise and the farmers, fostering more resilient agricultural industry capable of adopting challenges like climate change and market fluctuations. See, I would like to give you an example over here. Okay, there is one particular cafe here in nearby my house. These people do not use maida at all. And you know what they are using everywhere? Instead of maida, ragi is used, and they are using oats, and they are not using cow milk, and they are using coconut milk. This is completely kind of, you can say, millets are used. The milk that we are using, it's not made out of cow or something like that. We are using coconut milk, or we are using ragi cakes are made, ragi bread is made, or millet ice creams are made, you can say. So what your understanding here is we are trying to move towards millets. And when we're trying to move towards millets, it is a kind of, reducing the environment impact, because you all know that these millets grow in a very harsh climatic conditions also. They do not need specifically more amount of water or something like that. And they will also make sure that the land is, or the fertility of the land is quite good enough. So this is a initiative, right? So what is happening here is we're trying to reduce the environmental impact by, moving to millets, because now whatever they need is millets, right? So all the millets can be grown easily. This is one of the example here, okay? And this is something like we can also challenge climate change here, right? So these are some of the impact of this initiative. Now let us move to very important topic for today, that is Banking Law Amendment Bill 2024, right? So you need to understand that this is the first, after the first session of winter session. This is the bill that is being passed, okay? Or we'll see what exactly is there in this bill, what are the changes that we have, okay? Present a significant legislative effort to, now what is the major thing that we are trying to do from this banking amendment bill? So first thing is we are trying to modernize, streamline, regulate framework of governing the banking sectors. So whatever in India banking sector is there, we need to understand that bank is very, very important. Okay, or a banking sector is very, very important. And we need to understand that in India, we have a very good banking sector, that is RBI. And if that is good, then the country's economy will also be good. Something like you need to understand that the economy is related to banking sector. So that is when in economy, when you're studying bank, you see that you take a lot of time to understand banking sector and how the reforms are done, right? So we are trying to make this more modernized, more streamlining it, and more having regulatory framework, so that we can have a better governing India's banking sector, right? So what are the provisions here? We'll have to understand. Before that, we have to understand that here this was introduced in the Lok Sabha on August 9, 2024. We are trying to, amend multiple banking related laws. These many laws are being basically amended. I'm so sorry, there's something missing here. There's one more law that has been amended. So these are the laws that are being amended. That is RBI Act of 1934, and then Banking Regulating Act, State Bank of India Act, so Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Undertaking Act. So all these have been, amended. We'll not go into this, but we'll see what are the different types of amendments, or what are the different key provisions that can be asked in your examination, maybe for 1 or 2 marks, or maybe for your prelims, etc. See, in the previous year, also in 2023, we had one of such amendments passed regarding women's representation, and the same question or similar kind of question appeared in the exam. So probability of this question appearing in your 2025 prelims is high. So please do detailed analysis of this particular banking law, right? And here I will also given my inputs about this particular law, right? So these are the laws that have been amended, okay? And what we need to understand here is some of the key amendments. The first important thing that we need to understand is the redefinition of fortnight. See, I'll tell you what is this exactly. Fortnight before, or the current definition, or right now the definition was what? The fortnight was traditionally defined from Saturday to the second following Friday. That is the period of 14 years. So today is Saturday. From this Saturday to next Friday will be 7 days. right? From next Saturday to another Friday will be another 7 days. So this will be what? 14 days. And this was our fortnight, right? But what used to happen is there were some months, would have how many days? Would have 31 days, 3 days would be extra because 14 plus 14 would have 21 days. And there was some kind of confusion. So to avoid that confusion, what has happened is we have a new definition. And according to the new definition, it changes the fortnight to either, it could be from 1st of that particular month to 15th is the first fortnight. After this, it is 16th to the last working day or the last day of that month. So because some months have 29 days, 28 days, some months also have 30 days and 31 days. So we will not have any confusion. We'll have only two cycles in a month. That is 1 to 15th of each month or 16th to the last day of that particular month. This redefinition impacts how bank maintains their cash reserve ratios with the Reserve Bank of India, potentially affecting the liquidity management practices. See, when you're studying banking, you have seen that there are different ratios. Especially, there is something called CRR and SLR. Right? CRR is cash reserve ratio. So whenever any deposit is coming to a particular bank, they cannot give all the deposit as a loan to somebody else. They have to keep some amount with them or they have to keep some amount with Reserve Bank of India. And that is called as cash reserve ratio. So this ratio, okay, that will be, scrutinized every 14 days. That will be checked whether this is kept or no. Okay. And that there was a confusion like after every 14 days. So to avoid that confusion, what we have done here is we have done a cycle of 1st to 15th of each month is the first fortnight and 16th to the last month will be the other fortnight. How is it going to impact? Look at this. The impact is it changes the standardize the period of maintaining cash reserve ratio, aligning it with the calendar month. So we are trying to simplify the compliance and operational plans of the bank. The entire thing system will become more simpler because here some in this month or in the next month there will be a lot of issues that will have or confusions that you're going to have for that particular month. So to have a proper calendar month, we are trying to come up with this particular redefinition of fortnight of cash reserve ratios or ratios. The second thing that we have to understand here is the tenure of directors. Now, these two here, this is the another one, and this is the another most important, what you mean to say, key provisions here. Please focus on this. Both of them are related to cooperative banks. What you need to remember, I'll tell you. Anybody who is a director of the cooperative bank was there for 8 years before. Okay, 8 consecutive years he can serve as a director. But now it has increased to 10 years. Now, why this is done or what is the impact? It allows the greater continuity and stability in leadership, which is crucial for consistent implementation of policies and strategies in cooperative bank. See, 8 years again becomes a very short period of time. So they have increased it up to 10 consecutive years so that the leadership can have more implementation of the policy and that continuity is there or the stability is being shown in the leader. Apart from this, before what used to happen here is now director of one bank were restricted from serving on board of other bank. Especially the person who is there in the center and cannot serve in the state, such kind of some restrictions were there. But this is not the case right now. Now what has happened here is the director of central cooperative banks are also allowed to serve in the board of state cooperative banks as well. So what is this trying to do here is you can see operational efficiency, proper resource sharing is happening. So why are we trying to restrict them? So we're not going to restrict them anymore. So this amendment will enable better coordination also, resource sharing also between the different levels of cooperative banks. So these are the other two important key provisions. Another two important key provisions that I want to share are, the first thing is threshold of substantial interest in companies. See, if I am having more than 5 lakh shares of a particular bank with me, okay, then what happens here is that is considered as a substantial interest. Okay, now look, defined substantial interest as holding shares. Okay, I am having shares worth more than 5 lakh or 10% of the paid capital, which was very lower. So this was set up somewhere in 1968. And that point of time, the country's economy was completely different. But now what we're trying to do is we're trying to increase this tag from 5 lakh to 2 crores. So rising this to 2 crores with flexibility of the government to maintain through notifications. right? This revision reflects the economic growth. Means here we can see that economy has grown from 1968 to 2024. Because there is growth, what I'm doing is I'm increasing the threshold from 5 lakhs to 2 crores and inflation over a period of time, providing more realistic and contemporary threshold for what constitute a substantial interest, thereby potential broadening practice or participation in banking sector. So we can have proper, what you mean to say, participation in the banking sector. So for that, they've increased this particular threshold from 5 lakh to 2 crores. Another important thing is nominee rules for deposits and lockers. See, I'll tell you what used to happen, okay? In COVID, a lot of people have faced this issue. And there are two words here. One is called successive, and another is, I think, let us see, what is the other word? Here, I want you to focus on these two words here. Just give me a minute. Yeah. It is successive and simultaneous. Okay, I'll explain you the meaning of successive and simultaneous. Now, during COVID, a lot of people were struggling. So let us assume that I am an account holder. Okay, the account is in my name, right? Let us assume my name is XYZ or my name is Swati, right? Now I have around 1 lakh rupees in my account and I expire for a reason. Maybe I was suffering from COVID and I have expired. And my mother is my nominee. And my mother also expired because of COVID. And what happened was now people who are there or who belong to this particular family were struggling to get this money, 1 lakh rupees. At that point of time, it was very much in need because it was COVID. And the bank was not able to give this money to that particular next person because the nominee was the mother and the mother also is expired now. So to overcome this problem, what we have done is we have succession. So what I will do here is now Swati will not just nominate her mother, she will have four possibilities here. She will, how many names will be done? Four names will be done. Maybe first is her mother, later will be her father, later will be her brother, and later will be her sister. Let us assume that her mother and Swati, both of them die. The money will go to her father. And let us assume that Swati's mother and Swati's brother, father will also die. Then the money will go to the mother. So whoever's name is there on the first number, they will get the money. They are the first nominee. This succession is applicable to both deposits and lockers. Now you have simultaneous. Simultaneous is nothing but I have 1 lakh rupees and I have percentage. Like I have four nominees and for all four people, I want to give this particular money. So I want 25% to go to first person, 25 to second person, 25 to third person, and 25 to fourth person. So everybody will get 25,000 rupees. So in simultaneous, I am allowing all the four of them to get shares. But in succession, I am going to give the share to one nominee itself. Okay, now this simultaneous is only for the deposit, not for the lockers. How is this? So read this. Allowing a single person or a joint deposit holder to appoint one nominee. We had only one nominee, but right now up to four members or up to four nominees can be now appointed for deposit. Nominees can name simultaneously or successively, as I already told you, with share dividing proportionally in the simultaneous nominations. For lockers and articles, succession is not prioritized. Nomination prioritizes the order of nomination. Again, similarly here also for lockers also succession is followed, but here we cannot do simultaneous again. Now, what is the impact of this? This challenges or this change enhances flexibility for account holders and locker users, allowing more detailed planning in management and distribution of their assets. So I can easily plan, manage, and distribute my assets. So these are some of the important key provisions. Now, what is the outcomes that we have to or takeaways that we have? So we are trying to improve governance. The bill introduced changes the enhanced governance structure, particularly in cooperative banks, by revising director tenure and allowing shared directorship roles in certain circumstances as well. So whenever there is a need, the director of the center board can also be a director of the state board. Now we are trying to do a proper resource, reallocation. Operational efficiency also. Redefining time frame for cash reserve ratio. Okay, empowering bank to decide the audit fee are step towards operational. These are kind of operational. We are also trying to do some revision in the auditor's fee. We are also trying to do some revisions in the time frame of cash reserve ratio. So all these are making it simplifying and increasing the efficiency. We're also trying to make sure that there is customers' interest. How are we trying to do is we're trying to, give them this particular thing that is, give them more nominees. by aligning thresholds of substantial interest with current economic realities and redefining operational periods also. This is making this modernized, regulating, and making it for the better banking needs, right? The next important thing or next important article that we're going to discuss is reflection on Baku's NCQG outcome. Now, what is this NCQG and what is this Baku's outcome? So we had Conference of Parties 29, okay, and this was in Azerbaijan. So now we have to understand that the article is highlighting the outcomes of 29th Conference of Parties in Baku, Azerbaijan, focusing on new collection quantified goals for climate finance. So this is basically for climate finance, right? This Conference of Parties is of United Nations Framework for Climate, say Convention on Climate Change, that is by UNFCCC. So for UNFCCC, we have this was the 29th Conference of Parties that took place in Baku, Azerbaijan, focusing on new collection quantified goals for climate financing. So now let us understand what is this new collective quantified goals. Okay, the first thing that we need to understand here is a new global climate finance target. So we are trying to give us kind of a target that aims to increase the financial commitment of developed countries to developing countries. So what we are trying to do is whatever targets that we have given regarding the climate change. So we are trying to increase that commitments. Okay, so that for all the developed countries and developing countries, what we're trying to do is we're trying to increase that particular financial commitment. What is the goal? So it will set new finance target to support developing countries in their climate actions. The goal will be set from the floor of dollars 1,000 billion per year, taking into account the needs and the priorities of the developing countries. So whichever developing country is there, now they have got some kind of targets that by this much time they have to reduce their carbon emission, right? So all these targets to fulfill their targets. So we will give some, they will set some new financial target to support the developing countries. So whatever actions they're taking for their climate change, they will be getting some kind of support. Now let us see next. What is this particular article also talking about? They're talking about global warming and IPCC warning. So what is this basically? The Intergovernmental Panel of Climate Change is emphasizing on urgent need of strong commitments to limit the global warming to 1.5 degree increase. So we need to understand that the temperature rise should not go beyond 1.5 degree centigrade above pre-industrial level. This is crucial to mitigate several or severe climate impacts. If this is not maintained, then you need to understand with the current situation that we have, okay, if unchanged, could lead to temperature increase for up to 3.1%, which would exacerbate the climate change globally. So what we need to understand is right now it is 1.5 centigrade. We need to make sure that it is only up to 1.5 centigrade. If it is going, or if with whatever we have current situations or current goals or current targets, with this, it will not be able to, we will not be able to limit it only up to 1.5 degrees, and it may go up to 3.1 degrees as well. If that is there, then you have to understand right now with 1.5 only, we are having so many challenges. With 3.1, the challenges will be completely multiplied, and maybe the entire ice will be, melted, and we will have global warming problems. Right? So that is the reason we have come up with this new, what you mean to say, target for every developed and developing countries, so that they will be able to commit to their climate change, whatever commitments they have, right? Next thing that we need to understand is what is it exactly focusing upon? So the reasons that this is done, or why are we trying to do this, or what is the reason? The focus is the focus of this particular Conference of Parties 29 that was held in November 2024 was to dub the finance scope due to focus on climate financing, particularly NCQG. So the NCQG discussion aim to establish financial commitments. As I already told you, we are trying to, whatever shorts or whatever we are feeling short of expectations, especially for the developing nation, that will be, that for those countries, these people will establish some kind of financial commitments. Now, India is also trying to, work on a lot of things, like India's Green Energy Initiative. Now, why we are discussing this is because some of the things that India is also trying to do, we have to understand that. So to fight climate change, India has collectively recorded rupees 19,100 crores to the Ministry of New and renewable energy in 2024-2025 budget. So we have to understand that in the new budget, we are trying to implement or allocate more number of money for Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. The FAME scheme provides these many crore subsidy to electrical vehicle manufacturers. So what is this FAME? I've also mentioned this. FAME stands for faster adaptation and manufacturing of electrical vehicles in India. The government schemes that aims to promote use of electrical and hybrid vehicles in India. This scheme objects include reduction in consumption of liquid fuels, especially petroleum, diesel, etc., because they are giving a lot of carbon emission here. So to reduce that, we are having this FAME so that we are able to adopt and manufacture electrical vehicles, promote the use of electrical and hybrid vehicles in India. So we will be able to shift to the renewable source of energy, not the non-renewable source of energy. Address environmental pollution, establish charging infrastructure for electrical vehicles. So we need to have the charging infrastructure, like how we have petrol pumps everywhere. We also need to have this charging infrastructure also. And for that, we have FAME. Offering incentives for purchase of electrical vehicles. If somebody is trying to purchase electrical vehicles, we're also giving them some kind of incentives. Additional funding of 40 crores is done directed towards promoting clean energy and technology innovation also. These are some of the things that India is trying to, do so that it can meet its climate change, targets. But what are the challenges that we have when it comes to climate finance access? Means if I want to have this money that we are getting from the climate finance access, we have some challenges. What are those? See, debt burdens. Developing nations prefer grants to avoid increased physical debt challenges. So if I go and take money, obviously it is a debt, it is a burden for me. So I am kind of not willing because I'm a developing country. India is a developing country, and why would I or why would somebody, try to go and take debt because it is a burden for me, right? And we also need to understand the high lending cost. Higher borrowing costs restrict the ability of these countries to mobilize private capital also. So we are having high lending costs also, and because of that also I would not like to take money. Then we have OECD bias. Financial flow are predominantly directed towards developed nation, limited access to affordable financing to global south. So what is this OECD? We'll understand about this. This is Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. The organization of this is unique forum where governments of 37 democracies are marked with market-based economies collaborate to develop policy standards to promote sustainable economic development. So these people basically would give some loans to us or would give some debt. And these people are biasing them to developed nation and not giving it to developing nation. So this kind of bias is also there. And because of this, we are facing a lot of challenges. If I want to fulfill my target, I need some money. Because if I want to have an infrastructure now, for that infrastructure, I need some funds, right? And everything cannot come within the country. And what I would need is I would need some financial assistance, right? How can we get that? We can get it to many different manners. Like we have World Bank, we have International Monetary Fund, all of this is there. But what happens is that the lending rate is high. Even the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development is also more biased to the developed countries and not helping the developing countries much. So because of this, we are having some financial challenges as well. Now, roles and goals of this particular NQCG is, that is, it was established as a part of 210 Cancun commitment and provides this much amount of money annually by 2020, reinforced in COP21 in Paris also. So all of you know about the Paris Agreement and Conference of Parties 21, right? It aims to set clear, quantified climate financing objective, ensuring transparency and accountability also. So means we will be getting financial objectivities and we will have proper transparency and accountability through these NCQG and financial needs. A UNFCCC report estimates a global requirement of $5 to 7 trillion by 2030, with developing nations need 1.3 trillion annually for climate finance. So this much money is required by, developing nations so that they can put their all requirements or they can be able to complete all their targets. So need to understand that this much money is required. And to get this global financing, we have come up with this particular NCQG. Apart from this, what are the barriers that we have? Inadequate ambition. So there are some finance as a barrier to climate change or climate access here. So the outcomes reflect insufficient ambition, undermining inequitable burden sharing and climate justice practices. So you need to understand that it is still not clear, or even not having a sufficient ambition. From this goals also we are not clear, like when or what we are supposed to do. So it is still unclear, or it reflects insufficient ambition. It fails to meet the financial needs of global south. It's essential for transforming climate change. So it is not able to still meet all the financial needs of everybody. So this is are some of the issues that we have with this particular thing. Now, what we need to understand from this, see, this entire thing that I've discussed so far is related to what climate change, and to meet my targets of climate change, what I need to do is I need some finance. To improve that, we have come up with this, but even this is not up to the mark. You need to understand that the international communities must persist the climate change discussions, focusing on cooperation of global benefit. And the principle of common but differential responsibilities and respective capabilities should guide equitable transitions. And there should be unity among the developing countries. Developing countries should unite for the demand of fair financial support. As I already told you that there are a lot of organizations which are not supporting developing countries much. They are giving a lot of emphasis on developed countries itself. And a lot of developing countries are not able to get the finance access, maybe because of the debt burden or because of the higher lending cost. So because of all these issues, we are not able to fulfill our targets. And over a period of time, it is going to impact the environment. So you need to understand that irrespective of, discriminating between developed and developing nations, I think we need to focus on something that is equitable sharing and equal financial support. So you need to understand that the developing nations must unite so they can demand for fair financial support, ensuring the sustainability for all the future. Right? Now, let us have a small discussion also about what is this common but different responsibilities. So it is nothing but it is guiding principle, okay, by UNFCCC. It acknowledges that the countries have different capabilities and responsibilities when it comes to addressing climate change. Maybe developing countries can do differently, developed countries can do differently. You cannot consider the developed countries and developing countries as same. We have the common principle. It is a principle where my goal is common, but my responsibilities are different because my capabilities are also what different. So this establishes something like all the states are responsible for protecting the global environment, but different means here you can see common responsibility. The responsibility is common. And what is that responsibility? My responsibility is to protect the global environment. But different responsibilities are also there. How are we doing it? Developed countries have a primary responsibility because they have contributed to most of the historical and current greenhouse emissions. Because all the developed countries right now, because of industrial revolution, they are the people who have contributed to the greenhouse gases that are present right now, right? So they will have a different, what you mean to say, responsibilities. Similarly, different standards of conduct for developed and developing nations are different standards of conduct are there. So for developed countries, we have different targets. For developing countries, we have different targets. Our aim is common, that is to protect the global environment. But maybe the capabilities or responsibilities are a little different. So that is basically common but different responsibilities. Here also you need to understand should guide equal transition or equitable transition. So what you need to understand here is this climate change is not for any one country, it is for the entire world. So here there should be no discrimination based on developed or developing or underdeveloped countries. I think everybody should equally get financial assistance, and all the developed countries or developing countries should also not worry so much about the debt and high lending cost and should go ahead and do infrastructural development that is important for the climate change. Right. So this is something that I would like to conclude along. Now, thank you so much for your time. Today, I thought I should also ask you some question. So I want all of you to have a quick look at this particular question. Try to put your answer in the comments. Maybe let us check how much you have understood because of this particular bill or this particular session. Try to put all your answers in the comment section, and if possible, try to write explanation as well. Over a period of time, people who are participating in this, we would also like to, appreciate you, and maybe probably we will try to see what we can do betterment for your journey of UPSC. Try to have comments of answers in the comment section. Also write explanation if possible, right? So that anything that is left out that was not covered in the class, you can mention about that also so that we can consider it as a feedback and include it in the upcoming lectures as well. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a nice Time ahead.